On a bright Alberta morning,
Early on an Alberta morning, very early.
we headed to Kananaskis country to fish for brook trout.
One would think there'd still be fish at a more civilized hour.
Maybe, but we're headed to a special site. You see, we've been invited by Trout Unlimited Canada to help out with a very unique suppression program for invasive fish species, one that seems to be having very positive effects. Some time ago, the brook trout were accidentally introduced when a hatchery truck overturned, releasing the brook trout into local streams. They competed with the native species for food and living space, pushing the indigenous fish towards extinction.
So, we're going to give the native cutthroat and the native bull trout a better chance with some selective fishing.
The plan was to thin the invasive trout numbers and at the same time, hopefully catch enough to form the basis of our main course.
The brook trout may be bad for the local ecosystems, but they are really tasty. One last brush up on our fish ID, and it's actually more work than you'd think.
The plan only works if we stick to catching the right kind of fish. So to make sure we stuck to the brook trout, we had to write a fish ID test just to be able to come here today. And there was a catch.
We had to get perfect, or we couldn't come at all.
The key word there is black. It's not where there's specks. It's black spots are present on cutthroat, but you don't have black spots on the sides on brook trout or bull trout.
No pressure. Bloody hell! Are we crossing that?
Our site's on the far side of these rivers, and there's no bridges to where we're going. The brook trout we need to get is so remote, we have to use these non-sensitive park crossings just to get where we need to go. It's a rougher road than either of us expected, but our trucks were definitely up to the challenge.
That wasn't so hard.
With the wet and wild part done, it's just a few miles of off-road trails and a quarter-mile hike to our fishing site, Port Creek. Before the hike, we had a quick chat with Leslie from Trout Unlimited Canada about what they're hoping to accomplish today.
When we get down, we're going to set up block nets.
Okay.
So that's to cordon off the reach that we're electrofishing so that no fish can come in or out of the section.
Yep.
And then we'll do 3 passes electrofishing.
Okay.
And each subsequent pass, we should catch about 50% fewer fish. And that gives us a good depletion so that we can run the statistics and do a population estimate for that.
And it just stuns them? It doesn't kill them?
Yeah, that's right. It just stuns them.
Okay.
And then we release them all back alive.
It's like a military camp down there. These guys bought some gear.
Yeah, it's like we're at war with these invasive fish. Now, it may look like a team of experts at work.
And one Ghostbuster.
Right. But these are actually nearly all volunteers. Some of them have been volunteering with this project for a while. Others were first-timers like Rich and myself, also needing a little orientation.
This creek is a creek that used to have just native cutthroat and bull trout, but starting in the 1970s, brookies started to show up in the lowermost portion of the creek.
Oh, wow.
And by the mid-1990s, they were throughout the creek. In fact, they comprised about 95% of the fish population in the uppermost portion of the creek. And the cutthroat and the bull trout were rapidly being extinguished from the creek. So we were going to lose them unless we did something, and we don't have the resources to try to remove them from the creek by electrofishing. Right. And we thought we've got lots of anglers out there that, given a half a chance, seem to be pretty handy at greatly depleting or wiping out fish populations. So if we can utilize those anglers in a positive way,
right,
and permit them to harvest an unlimited number of brook trout from the creek, perhaps we can reduce the brook trout population enough to facilitate a recovery of the native cutthroat and bull trout.
Finally, overfishing gets a chance to do some good.
Yeah, it usually goes the other way.
It turns out the brook trout are packing a few evolutionary guns, meaning not only are they outbreeding the local trout, they're having an easier time sneaking past anyone fishing for them.
Well, anyone who hadn't studied as hard as we did.
Okay, are we seeing populations of the cutthroat, populations of bull beginning to come back, stabilize?
The cutthroat population is showing signs of recovery. When we first started, as I indicated, cutthroat and bull trout together comprise no more than 5% of the fish population.
Oh, wow.
But I think it was around about 4 years ago that cutthroat trout actually outnumbered brook trout. They comprised over 50% of the fish population.
Wow.
So we're moving in the right direction.
Good.
Busting makes me feel good.
All right, time to fish.
At least we need less gear than the electro-fishing guys. And as you can see, it was every bit exciting.
Fishing is supposed to be calm, Rich.
That it was.
So what you do is you try and look to see what's hatching. So before you even go out fishing, you might actually turn over some rocks, take a look at what's hatching, what insects are there. And what we saw in the aquarium, that little tank, the stonefly, I was trying to get something that kind of matched the stonefly. And obviously it's working really well.
I have absolutely no fly fishing experience. I came out here for a little lesson from Matt, hopefully. It's a total waste of time, obviously. Yeah, well, you need to get this thing moving because we're a bit of a time limit to catch these fish, and there's going to be some hungry people tomorrow night.
Oh shit.
Fishing.
Even this far from the electricity, we still didn't quite manage to escape without injury.
What'd you do to your head? You like sliced your head.
Did I?
Yeah, man.
It's friggin' bugs.
It's freaking fishing.
Where's the hook? It's a lot of work, this.
You're supposed to have fun.
It's a workout.
You look a little tense.
I'm a little...
You're like, it's supposed to be like relaxing.
It's not relaxing at all, it's stressful.
Hopefully we caught enough brook trout to give the locals their fighting chance.
And feed everyone. Let's not forget that.
Lonnie, the way the sticks, the way you showed us how to do the sticks, it actually formed a little cup. That was completely planned by you, right?
Yep.
That's
all part of the plan.
That's
all
superior
the grand
chef
scheme.
skills.
Yeah, cupping that. We do not want to waste one drop of that beer marinade.
Oh, no.
Cup
That'd
the
be
trout.
alcohol abuse.
Cup the trout.
That would be alcohol abuse.
And so we kept things nice and simple, focusing on the ingredients that we had gathered.
Which is real nice.
That's beautiful.
And again, you're doing it super simple. There's no magic ingredient in this. I know you'd probably wish there was.
No. Don't mess with nature. Don't interfere with these flavors. I mean, they're just so nice. It'd be a shame to ruin them.
And so it was finally time to eat.
At long last.
It's delicate.
Good.
There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers. Ching. Ching. Oh.
Oh, wow. Not too shabby. There you go. How is it? Mm-hmm. It's good?
Yeah, you get a little bit of the herb. You definitely get the smoke. Mm-hmm. That was really good.
As good as it looked and as good as it tasted, Matt was determined to find the extra last piece of fish.
How do you? Jim was telling us how to find the cheek.
On a cod.
So, no, but Jim told us that we're even on these small fish, you can still get a little piece of cheek and it's delightful. But I
Fish
don't.
cheeks are a delicacy, but I don't know if you can find it.
I don't know.
Like it's nothing.
It's right there. There you go.
Nice.
There it is. Oh, well done. Just peel it right back.
I found it, but there was still plenty of fish left to eat.
Just peeled right off.
Lani made us a brilliant dinner just by letting the ingredients we found speak for themselves.
Absolutely delicious.
You got that right, mate.
First we had the mushrooms. Very rustic, rich and buttery. A taste that matched the fresh, crisp outdoor smell of Canmore.
The texture was a little bit rubbery, which I don't usually look for, but it really works well, especially on the lobster mushrooms.
And the butter really brought out the essence of the forest.
The trout were a little small, being cold water trout, but there was actually a lot of meat on them.
That's right, light, flaky, just needed a little butter and a few herbs to really enhance their flavor. It was delicious and good for the local fish as well. The farmer's market had an incredible variety of locally grown fruits and vegetables.
It was a renaissance of heirloom produce, and everything had some sort of story attached to it from the farmers that grew it.
A true farm-to-plate experience, and what we got just kicked our main ingredients into overdrive.
And it didn't even look that hard. Lani cooked them in a way that anyone could do, and made a world-class meal out of it all.
You can say that again. All you need for an inspired dinner is a little motivation and some creativity with your local ingredients.
And a sense of adventure doesn't hurt.
Never does. Thanks to everyone we met for sharing your passions with us. And thanks to all of you for joining us on this great ride.
let your freak flag fly. Don't take more than you need. Keep your heart open wide, yeah. We're alright, and we're all in this together. We can make it to the finish. When we do, we will begin again. And all this life's like a ship out in the harbor. We can take it where we wanna. When we do, we will be satisfied. And we're alright, and we're all in this together. We can make it to the finish. When we